In extremely not surprising news to start with today, contrary to what the Trumpist right and even some people on the left have been saying, some investigators of Robert Mueller's are now saying that the 4-page letter that Donald Trump's Attorney General William Barr put out does not accurately portray their findings. It's so obvious, and it was always so obvious that I'm kind of embarrassed that there's even a debate about this within the left. Like, I knew, obviously, when William Barr wrote this political press release of a letter, we knew it was meant to be used to have a victory lap sort of exoneration party by Donald Trump and the people around him. Obviously, it made no sense at minimum because one of the few Mueller quotes that was actually in Barr's letter actually says Mueller was not able to exonerate Donald Trump from obstruction. Obviously, Trump and people around him eventually understood that the Mueller report isn't so great for Trump because they shifted from being all about transparency and the release of the full report to trying to obstruct its release within the Senate, at the Justice Department, and at absolutely every level. Now, I got some calls last week and I got some emails this week that say, David, don't you think that if the Barr letter mischaracterizes the Mueller report, Mueller would be out there front and center saying they're not telling the truth? And the answer, as I told one of our callers last week, is no. Mueller said nothing the entire probe. Mueller's spokesperson clarified one news report by saying some of the descriptions of specific testimony supposedly made to the special counsel are not totally accurate. That's all we heard from Robert Mueller's spokesperson during the entire investigation. Mueller has not spoken. There's no reason to think Mueller all of a sudden is going to start speaking unless he has to testify before the House, which he might, and we'll get to that next week. But a New York Times report now says that Mueller's investigators are not staying silent, unlike Mueller himself, and they are saying what anybody with any common sense has known for 2 weeks now, which is that the Mueller report is worse for Trump than Barr claims, and it's definitely worse for Trump than Trump claims. Now, I told you last week, and I told you again this week, the whole point of this Barr letter is to first create a narrative, okay? Barr creates a narrative, a story with this letter, which Donald Trump then uses to run around the country claiming that he's been exonerated. The right-wing media falls for it. Most corporate media falls for it. Even some left-wing media falls for it. And now here come his investigators, Mueller's investigators, and they say, we're concerned because now William Barr has created the first narrative. He got the first perspective out, even though it's not an accurate perspective. The public might be set in the belief that this is the narrative. The public has been primed. And you have other investigators now saying, shockingly, right, a lot of the material in the Mueller report should have been included in that 4-page summary if we wanted it to be an actual complete representation of what it is that the investigation found. And of course, once again, this is all exactly according to plan and completely unsurprising. I think the phrase you used yesterday, Pat, was prime the pump. This is now a situation where, of course, the report is more damaging to Trump than Barr claims, but they have all successfully primed the pump where I don't even know if the full truth of the Mueller report will be believed when it finally comes out, if it does.
Well, I suppose there's a range of possibilities here. Like on one side, you have the Barr letter being pretty accurate, right? And the 400 pages mostly has to do with Russia interfering in the election, not so much Russia colluding with Trump. On the other end of the spectrum, there is this idea that Mueller had a good amount of evidence, but not quite enough to indict Trump. And he had quite a bit of evidence on obstruction of justice, too, but just didn't want to make the recommendation, wanted to leave that up to someone else. So, I mean, we won't know for sure until the Mueller report comes out. But certainly this story suggests that the truth is far more on one side of the spectrum than the other.
Yeah, only in a fantasy world of blinding political partisanship or deliberate malignant ignorance could someone think anything other than it's got to be worse than Barr said. You don't need 400 pages to say Trump did nothing wrong. You don't say that you can't clear Trump of obstruction if Trump did nothing wrong. And Barr knew this, so they got a summary out that was as good as possible for Trump. They used it to create a national media tour of this faux victory lap exoneration stuff while working to stifle the release of the report. And here we are today, where even some people on the left think that the report has vindicated Donald Trump. This was Barr's job. Barr was chosen as attorney general because he doesn't believe a president can be indicted for obstruction and to cover up the results of the probe. He's done it, period. And now Democrats are going to need to keep fighting to get the full report released, which is what I want to talk about next. One of today's sponsors is privacy.com/Pakman, which is a free service that I myself use. Really useful in many different ways. Takes just a few seconds to link your debit card to privacy.com. Then you can create virtual credit cards that are linked directly to your bank account, and you use those virtual credit card numbers to buy things online, which protects your actual debit card so that it's not spread all over the internet. And one of the best things about it is how their mobile app and browser extensions for Chrome and Firefox make it really easy to use. Let's say, for example, that I'm signing up for a David Pakman Show membership. In the credit card number field, I already see the privacy.com icon. I just click it, choose which of my virtual credit cards I want to use, and the credit card number, expiration date, and security code are automatically entered. I can put in any zip code I want, and I'm done. And if you try to use my credit card number that you just saw on the screen, it doesn't matter, because I've already deleted that virtual card, and that's the beauty of privacy.com. There are a ton of advantages to using a free service like this. For example, you can sign up for as many free trials as you want, then just delete the virtual credit card you used and never worry about getting charged for it. It protects you from getting hacked. It protects you when companies are hacked, which happens all the time. It is all completely free. All you have to do is click the link under this video to get started. And for a limited time, they're giving everyone in our audience $5 towards your first purchase when you sign up using that link.